In 2010, an OMNR worker, Rick Rosette, was studying cougar sightings from across southern Ontario in hopes of gathering evidence of them being present in the province. During his investigation, he made a startling discovery. His team captured a photograph on one of their trail cams, which they confirmed to be a melanistic jaguar, or as you could say, a black panther, as all big cats with melanism can be referred to as black panthers, as that's a term for them. Sadly, Rick's further investigation to this was cancelled. However, the evidence on this topic has only increased throughout the past 15 years. Just like Rick, my own personal investigation started with cougars and mountain lions, which are the same animal, of course. But like him, people started bringing forth evidence of black panthers as well. And at first, I didn't buy it. I just thought it was local folklore. However, it got to the point where 1 in 4 sightings people were giving to me were black panthers. And people continued sending me occasional video evidence, which was pretty convincing. As I kept seeing more and more evidence of this kind of stopped being something that I could just dismiss as being folklore. There seemed to be a lot of legitimate proof of this being a legit thing.
What the is that?
So, this has just built up so much curiosity in me for this topic, as I have decided to start another new series on the channel, Discovering Ontario's Black Panthers. I'm going to go across southern Ontario to locations where these animals have been filmed, and I'm going to set up baited cameras there and cover any news regarding these animals. Keep in mind, of course, that the video evidence I have received so far is blurry. Sadly, it's just how it goes. Our phones can only really zoom in so far without losing its HD quality. So if you don't really buy it yet, don't worry about it. The purpose of the series is just to build up interest in the possibility of these animals being present in southern Ontario, and also just doing my best to capture undeniable video evidence of these animals. So without further ado, let's get into this topic more. You may find it interesting to learn that invasive black panthers, or leopards rather, is not really an unproven thing on the world scene. For example, the UK currently has a big debate going on whether they have an invasive leopard population. And there's a lot of credibility to this, especially since the government confirmed 6 different occasions where they gathered leopard DNA. 2 of these were recently, where a leopard had just killed a sheep and they tested the nearby environment and found leopard hair. It's really quite an interesting rabbit hole of the internet if you want to dive right into it. There's actually 2 areas on the globe where there's a lot of these black panther sightings as well. There's a ton of sightings that happen in Victoria, Australia, and that's kind of like a big province in Australia. That's Melbourne's province. There's also a lot of sightings that happen in the southern United States, and there's a lot of people there who are trying really hard to prove that they're present in the countryside. The only 2 animals which are illegal to own in Ontario would be a pit bull and an orca. So because of this, southern Ontario has kind of created a black market for exotic animals like big cats. And it is estimated that in Canada as a whole, there is over 186,000 big cats ranging from servals to tigers. And speaking of tigers, Canada actually has a population of 2,300 captive tigers, 713 of which are present in Ontario. The more you know, eh? New bylaws have been put in place in recent years, but the damage is kind of done, as for decades there was absolutely no laws regarding pet ownership. If people are releasing kangaroos and alligators, you can better believe they're releasing big cats as well. Why? Well, because there's a lot of unexpected high maintenance with these animals. They're dangerous, of course, because they can kill you if they want to. And a lot of people don't know that big cats actually have the habit of spraying. So if you have a big cat like that in your home, eventually your whole house would be coated with its urine. So something like that might motivate you to let the animal free. And also, it's expensive to feed these things. These things need a lot of meat all the time. And perhaps people could also be afraid of getting trouble by the authorities. For all these reasons, likely they're buying these cubs, they're raising them, but due to unexpected things, they're releasing them out into our wilds. So the word on the street for big cats is that they typically sell for $5,000 to $20,000. And if it were me and I wanted to buy a jaguar or a leopard, I really wouldn't want the typical Amazonian coat. I would be like Bruce Wayne, you know, does it come in black? I would want the black coats that I felt like I had my money's worth. And if it looked more like just a big house cat, right? So for these reasons, it's very likely that the source of Southern Ontario's Black Panther sightings is from the exotic pet trade. What also is very interesting about big cats is if you call the local zoos in the area, some of them will talk to you and they'll confirm that when it comes to the winter time, they don't bring them inside. All year, these animals are out in the cold and they're doing just fine. So the question isn't if it will survive the cold. The question is, will this animal be capable of killing enough prey to sustain itself? And really, when you narrow that down, there's only a couple animals which likely will be able to live out in our forest. It can't be lions or tigers if they escape, because there's no way they'd ever be able to kill enough prey to sustain themselves. However, something which requires even less food perhaps than our local native cougars do might do just fine. Something perhaps like a melanistic leopard, or perhaps if it's handy and capable enough, a melanistic jaguar. People may wonder if there's big cats being released from all across Southern Ontario from exotic pet ownership. Why are people only seeing black panthers? Now, the answer is actually really interesting to that. And in summary, it's because out of all the big cats, only black panthers have the best shot of surviving our climate and capturing prey. Let me explain. You see, Southern Ontario actually has another animal which is completely black and does just fine here. And that would be the black bear. Now, the black bears have black fur because they have melanin in it. And with big cats, big black panthers, they are black because they also have an abundance of melanin. And that's why they're referred to as melanistic. So scientists believe that black bears have a black coat, so that in the winter time they absorb as much heat as possible. See where I'm going with this? It would be hard for an animal to survive in Canada if it didn't have a black coat, if it didn't have some advantage to help stay warm in the cold winters. Now, that's just my own personal theory. Like, as I tell you guys often, like, just remember, I'm not a scientist. I'm just a guy on YouTube, and I'm really just figuring this out as I go along. However, I do feel that is something worth considering. So then the question would be, which of these big cats are most likely our new invasive species? And at this point in time, in truth, I really don't know for certain. I know I've speculated that Indian leopards are the most likely animal, and that very likely is true. However, I was looking at that from an animal smuggling source perspective, and now I'm looking at this project from an exotic pet that got released instead perspective. And so likely whatever invasive animal is in our backyards has to be the one which has the highest numbers in captivity in Ontario. That's likely our culprit. Of course, we have some theories which we are working on. One would be that it's the African leopard, due to how African leopards are kept a lot in captivity. Another one would be jaguars, as of course Rick Rosette's photograph, he personally believes the animal to be a jaguar. And another idea would be what I've said in previous videos, that of Indian leopards, because of how well they adapt to colder environments, as they're currently native to cold areas of the Himalayas. I'd actually really value your guys' thoughts on this. If you could, let me know what species you think it is in the comment section down below, as I'm sure we'll get down to the bottom of this soon, but we need a little bit of help from you guys. Now, some people believe all of these sightings are black cougars, melanistic cougars, but the problem with that is there's never been a recorded and verified melanistic cougar in all of history. So we're basically talking about a unicorn here. It's a horse, but it has a horn, right? Like it's a cougar, but it's black. It's never been recorded, and studies go back at least 100 years. For example, albino cougars are a real thing, but it is estimated that only one cougar out of 10,000 individuals is born an albino. So mutations like this in cougars are ridiculously rare. And also, a second thing to consider is, according to scientists, if a black cougar was born, it probably would not be pitch black. And the problem with that is the videos I am receiving from the public are pitch black. It's estimated that these animals would have a gray underbelly and a little bit of brown still in their coat. So it's not what's getting reported. With modern technology, if these animals were that common, they would have not remained undiscovered. We would know about it. We would know that there's black cougars, that cougars can turn melanistic. But the ratio is too high. It's too high. So clearly, something other than the rare genetics of animals has to be in play in Ontario. There has to be more than just that, which brings me back to invasive species. Keep in mind too, like, news reports do comment about escaped animals all the time. So I have to also take that into consideration as well. So until the impossible gets proven, I have to stick to the plausible. And if someone genuinely does find a melanistic cougar in the future, I may have to retract some of my sentences, right? But until that point, I gotta stick to what is most likely. So now that we have gone over the suspects for these Black Panther sightings, I do have a special request to make of you guys. If you have ever seen a waist-high black cat with a really long tail, please don't keep it to yourself. Let me know, guys. I really need that information. I need to know where I need to set up my cameras, right? So please let me know the exact location where it was spotted, and also let me know the year that you saw it. Reach out to my email at fishingurbanontario@gmail.com or the comment section down below. All submissions, all sightings are always left anonymous. And I really would appreciate your help once again. But let's talk about just that. Let's talk about someone who submitted a sighting to me and how I was able to use it to my full benefit to gather evidence of big black panthers being present in southern Ontario. This really is cool, guys, this footage. If I had any doubts personally of black panthers being present in Ontario, this got rid of it.
What the is that?
I actually drove 3 hours away to Sterling, Ontario, and I got some wonderful comparison videos to help scale the animal and give some size. So I hope you guys find it really cool. Let me show you what I did. All right, everyone, so if you look behind me here, the background is the same as that exact video. There's even this branch here which has lied down on the ground in the exact same formation, untouched since a week ago. There's that stump right there. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna walk down there and I'm gonna take the same path that that black cat took in hopes of kind of giving you guys a little bit of a size comparison to help gauge exactly how big that animal was. So here's the sign. Here I am, I'm about 5'9". Give you a little bit of scale. This was a big cat, guys. This was a big animal. That should prove that we cannot say for certain anymore that there are no predatory apex predator black panthers out in southern Ontario. That footage, even though it's very blurry, kind of tells us what it was. Especially if you slow down the motion of the video and look at that tail spread out across the floor. If you keep your eye on that black dot there on the ground, you will see that the black dot behind the tail is moving as well, which means it's part of the tail. The grass is covering a bit, but that whole thing is a long tail, a long body. And house cats do not have a tail that grows that long. The only things it could be is either invasive leopards or black cougars. Something in the bush freaking me out. I'm yelling very loudly. There shouldn't be anything in the bush. What's over there? Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Let's go over there now and let's set up a camera in hopes of one day capturing really great HD footage of that animal. I tell you, this is smelly. Look at that, look at that. Here, kitty, kitty. Let's just smell this place up like meat, you know? Now that the trail cam is all set up, I'm back home, and there's really only one thing left to do, and that is just to wait, guys. These trail cams, you just have to place them and let a lot of time go by, right? Eventually, you'll see all the animals, no doubt, in that area, across in front of that camera. And if you want to see what that camera captures, there's really only one way you'll be able to do that, and that is if you hit the subscribe button down below. Now, if you don't hit that button, you're not going to get notified about new videos on the series or this channel as a whole, and that'd be a total loss. So I'd suggest for you guys to hit the subscribe button down below. You don't want to miss out. If you guys perhaps also want to volunteer your time for these projects, reach out to my email, fishingurbanontario@gmail.com. We could use a lot of help, of course, as there's a lot of things to do, a lot of sightings to report, and a lot of trail cams that need to be placed. Speaking of trail cams, if you are a company that produces trail cams, don't hesitate to reach out to me if you would like your product to be advertised on this channel. I would love to have a sponsor that I could recognize as being the official trail cam of this channel. I think that'd be really cool, and I think it would help you guys add a lot of positive publicity to your product. But reach out to my email if you're interested, fishingurbanontario@gmail.com. I'd love to work with you. And until the next video, guys, all I can really tell you is thanks for watching. I really do try and keep this as interesting, fun, and informative as I possibly can. And I really hope you have enjoyed the video. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and take care.